Public Health at 206-477-3977. That's 206-477-3977.
November is Native American Indian Heritage Month. Please join Rainier Avenue Radio.world to honor and celebrate the contributions and the history of our first Americans.
Yo!
What up, though?
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat.
Yeah.
With Tony B.
For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community.
Street Beat. Street Beat. With Tony.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B. You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. The beat of the city tonight is the Seattle-King County NAACP presidential debate. Yes. Still talking about that. On April 21st and one of the reasons why. Last year around this time, we did a series of shows regarding the former president of the NAACP. And we broadcast some shows. There were some allegations, a number of different allegations, including misappropriation of funds. And the former president came on and discussed those issues. And I think that some folks were surprised. I think a lot of folks were surprised about what was going on in the background. Well, this year we have an election for a new president. What I was going to say was that on April 21st, I think it was November 4th, that the board voted to remove Sadiq Sakine as president. But on April 21st of 2020, the NAACP National Board of Directors effectively removed former Seattle-King County NAACP president Sadiq Sakine from the local branch as both an officer and a member. And according to the press release, the NAACP said that after a thorough investigation and hearings held by the NAACP's national office and committees, the National Board of Directors determined that some of Sakine's alleged actions as president of the branch were detrimental to the NAACP. Those actions were refusing to submit a financial report to the executive committee, even after a number of requests to learn the financial status of the branch. There was also the allegation that President Sakine ordered the Act So chair, which is a program of NAACP, to withdraw thousands of dollars from the Act So banking account to deposit into the Unit General Fund, which funds were allegedly expended on non-ACSO activities. It's also alleged that President Sakine intentionally wrote bounced checks from the Unit's General Fund, knowing that there were insufficient funds in the branch account. Now, this follows a series of allegations against the NAACP. And so with the new presidency this year and a vote, again, this is kind of something new for the NAACP as well. In this election season, as we were doing our community election connection, and there is such an interest in elections, and we know that from this one, and what voter suppression is, if you didn't know before, how people make it difficult to vote. There's a number of different ways to win. You can get the most votes, or you can try to prevent people from voting. Or, you can count the votes yourself, and then you determine who wins. It's not who votes, it's who counts the votes that makes the decision. That's one saying. But these are all things, again, that you see playing out in our national narrative. And again, we've been talking about how important local voting is. And so in this particular instance, we're talking about an organization that is critical to our society. The mission of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic quality of rights of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. In asking for your membership, the NAACP website homepage, Seattle King County chapter says, join the thousands of others standing up for civil rights in the Pacific Northwest. Together, we can hold our institutions accountable and move toward a world with justice and equality for all. So that's kind of what's happening here today. We're going to have, again, another transparent conversation. You know how we get down. We're also going to give you an opportunity to learn more about the NAACP. And joining me on the program is Mr. Ezra Maize. Mr. Maize, how are you?
I'm doing very well, my friend. How are you doing today?
Under the circumstances, fantastic. I mean, you know, we're having a surge in COVID-19, and we are now under another government mandate, and folks are taking it however they're taking it. But we do know that, again, however this turns out, it's going to be worse for black people. we do know that. And even if we knew that the first time and the larger population didn't, let me give you a heads up as we move into this, and everyone's talking about how this is going to be worse and harder on everybody in a number of different ways. We know what the impact is. This is going to be harder on black people and people of color and poor people. In an instance like this, this is where communities look for leadership. Communities depend on the organizations that, again, pride themselves on being community-centric, like the NAACP. This is also a time where individuals stand up, where people become leaders, where groups become leaders, where people come together and say, you know what, we need to do what we need to do in order for our community to survive. And so I guess you could say that is, if you're just watching what's happening, these things are unfolding and taking place. Again, my guest, Mr. Ezra Maize from the NAACP, and you are the religious chair and then also a member of the elections committee. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, let's do this. I kind of gave a little bit of background. If there's anything else that you'd like to say, and I want to find out a little bit more about you, but if there's anything else that you'd like to say right now off the top about the NAACP, why don't you go ahead and do that? You know, if there are some things that you want to mention, that you just want to share with us about the Seattle King County chapter of the NAACP.
Well, I've been a part of the chapter for about a year and a half. I moved here from New York, from the Bronx, New York. I've been working with the NAACP for many, many years. I served as president for 4 years in the Tennessee area. I am the first African-American to ever win a primary election running for mayor in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I've been with the NAACP for a very, very long time. As we know, the NAACP was founded, I believe it was February 12, 1909 in New York. So it is a very, very, very established organization. I think you gave the mission of it, the mission of the NAACP, and a lot of people say NAA, the NCAA, they get confused, but it's the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People to ensure the political and educational, social, and economic equality for of rights for all people. I think you said that earlier, and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. I think we may have a problem there because it doesn't look like too much is being eliminated. I'm not blaming that on the NAACP whatsoever, but that is one of our missions, is to help eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. And under, am I free to say what I want to say?
Oh, that's how we get down. Yes, please.
Oh, is that how we get down? I gotta ask. And under this leadership, our president Trump, man, we've seen more hatred, more racial discrimination than I've seen in the 22 years I've been alive, and I'm a little older than 22. But this is my story. Let me tell it. So we've seen more hatred and discrimination, and I believe that this has been an opportunity for the NAACP, especially these past 2 years, have been an opportunity for the NAACP to really step up and step out and make a, not just a statement, because, you know, where I come from, man, they say we can talk about it, but never be about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can not just make statements, but we can really make an impact on where we are.
Now, as you say that, you heard what I said in the intro.
I did.
And you're talking about the last 2 years, and you're talking about that being an opportunity. And during that time that you're talking about, again, there were allegations against the president. There were more allegations than that as well. And so, as you say, this was a time for a statement to be made. When you look back on that, and the people who are listening now and saying, well, what is all this going on? What statement was being made by the NAACP at that time, or are you just saying that it was a good time? Because as you're saying that, and you look at the past 2 years, things were going on internally, and I'll just let you tell me about that. When you say time to have an impact in the last 2 years, how would you describe the last 2 years of the NAACP?
So this is how we get down?
Yes, this is how we get down.
Man, the last 2 years for the NAACP King County, man, has been a challenge. It has been a challenge because I am a firm believer that you cannot externally heal or help anybody unless you are internally together yourself. And it has been, man, under the last leadership. It was a struggle, man. It was a struggle. There were some allegations that were made. There were some things that were done inappropriately. It was a battle, man. And there was more of a battle on the inside than we did more fighting on the inside than we did externally. Can I put it that way?
You can put it however you want to put it, bro.
We did more fighting internally than we did externally.
Now, in your other stops, places where you took your personal time to make sure that you were vested in the communities, at those NAACP chapters, how would you compare the Seattle King County chapter to those chapters? Were you surprised what was going on here, or were those other chapters more organized, more vested in community? Give me your feedback on that. What your thoughts are as a person who's done this in other cities, in other places, and now you're here, Seattle King County.
Man, I was very surprised with what was taking place as it relates to the leadership. Mm-hmm. I was extremely surprised what was taking place, man. And I believe, and I always tell people, I think you said it earlier, when you cast your vote, you got to know who you're voting for.
Right.
And that's an elected position here. You can't just vote for people because they're your friend or because they say they're a part of an organization, as you know, because this is how we get down, right?
That's how we get down.
You say you're part of an organization, and it comes to life that everything that you said wasn't true. So it compared to other branches that I have been a part of, man, it was rough. It was very shocking to me. But as I've done my homework with King County, man, and this organization here, the NAACP King County, man, in the past, and you know this here, in years past, has been a phenomenal organization. Matter of fact, it has been one of the strongest organizations in the country.
What period of time are you talking about? Just to be clear,
we're talking a few years ago. We're talking a few years ago.
Are you talking 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? What period of time are you talking about?
I'm talking 10 years beyond.
Okay.
It's been a while, mm-hmm. but I can say this here. Carolyn, man, has done a phenomenal job in trying to bring the NAACP back into focus. She's done a phenomenal job. I enjoy working with Carolyn. I don't say that about everybody, man. I enjoy working with Carolyn. She's done a phenomenal job in trying to bring it back in focus. And people will say, they can say what they want, but until you serve in this position, you don't know the difficulties. Yeah. It's difficult.
Ezra, you know I'm throwing this in him. So is she the person who should be president?
I can't. So this is how we roll. let me say it this way. Carolyn has done a phenomenal job, and I'm sincere, man. I'm I'm a realist.
And you know part of what I'm talking about, and this is something that's been out there, is because there was this question of funds, that belonged to AXO, that were in Carolyn's account, and then taken out of the account. And again, you can explain it probably better than I can. So why don't you do that so that
Carolyn was not the president, so Carolyn had nothing to do with the monies that came out of that AXO account.
Okay. Did it go into her account?
Say again?
Did the money go into her personal account?
Carolyn?
Yes.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Where did the money go?
Man, we don't know where the money went. Come on,
you don't know.
We don't know where the money went.
You don't know where the money went. You don't know where the money went.
But we know it. I know it. Let me say this, Carolyn.
And who was the president at that time?
Man, you know who the president was.
No, I need you to tell me who the president was.
Come on, man. Come on. You know who the president was, man.
I need the people to know who the president was during this tenure.
Who did they tell you the president was? Like, you know how we get down.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the electoral process. We have 3 candidates running for president, and you can only vote if you're a member. Is that correct?
Yes.
What are y'all doing to ensure that the members are notified about this process, that the members are receiving information about the candidates? Again, you heard me talk a little bit about the ways to win. One of the ways to win is to stop people from voting. And you don't have to have the most votes. You just need to, if you can reduce the amount of votes that come in, then you can sway the election in the favor of the people who get the information to vote. Again, another way that you can win an election is you can be the vote counter. And then doesn't matter how many votes came in, you say who won, and that's the deal. And so if this process is going to be what I think we would consider at this point as many votes as possible, all people having the opportunity hearing their voices heard, what I'm kind of going over right now is how did people being notified? Was there a voter's pamphlet printed that everybody got? What type of outreach has been done? And has everyone been contacted who knows that there's an election coming up that has the opportunity to vote?
Everyone has definitely been contacted, man. We have, emails have gone out. It's on the website, the NAACP King County's website. So everyone has been informed. And I believe that there will be a greater number because we are doing online voting this year. Mm-hmm. We're doing online voting this year. So I believe that there will be a greater number of voters than it would if you were just doing your ballot, your normal ballot votes as you drive up and place your vote.
All right.
But everybody who is a member of the NAACP, all eligible members have a chance to vote on November 21st from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. On Apple Vote, and it's due to COVID that this election will only have online voting to keep everyone safe and in line with the government's guidelines.
So was there a voter's pamphlet printed or something to aware folks of who the candidates were, what their issues were, how they plan to handle, again, some of the things that are going to confront us, how they plan to handle some of the internal things? And again, and I appreciate you coming on this show, how we are going to know that there is transparency in this organization, if this is an organization that is going to be leading during this time of crisis.
How do we know that it's going to be an organization that's leading during this time of crisis?
How do we know that the vote that's going to be out there, that people are getting information so that they can make an informed decision on who the president is? What have you done to ensure that the voters who belong to this organization get a clear vision, version, especially with what's happened with the presidency, of who they're electing and how they're going to talk about and actually put into play the change that you've been talking about, that you want to see happen in this chapter?
Man, those who are running, and there are 3 people running, Irwin, Deontay, and Carolyn. There are three people. I should give their whole names: Irwin Chappell, Deontay Damper, and Carolyn Riley Payne. They're running, man, and they have their websites up, and they are able. We had a forum just this past Monday, and everybody got an invitation to come and be a part of the forum that we have in and outside of the NAACP. That was on our website as well. Everyone has had an opportunity to come and hear what the candidates have to say. Also, the candidates have an opportunity for those who are members of the NAACP to send out information to the collective body and inform them of who they are and what they're doing and what their vision is, their plan is for the organization here in King County.
Now, do the candidates have access to the membership to be able to do that, to be able to get the word out to all the members?
The candidates have access to the membership through the secretary. They can't just come in and pick up a name. So there's a process that they have to go through. They have to send their information in because, they have to send their information in, and then an email blast goes out to those who are qualified to
have all of the candidates had equal access to that membership?
Yes. Nobody has. There's no favoritism here during this.
And how many members? How many members are there of this branch of the NAACP?
Man, we've taken in over 300 or 400 members in the past 2 or 3 months.
Which makes the total amount of members in the Seattle King County branch how many?
I don't know the exact number.
Okay, that's going to make it difficult if you don't know that number. But we're talking about things. Okay, and that's fine. But again, I'm just thinking, and we're going to take some phone calls here. If you have some questions, 206-290-9685, 206-290-9685. I'll give you that number again. If you'd like to call in and be part of this conversation, 206-290-9685, 206-290-U5, YOU5. So let's move forward now. So the exact number is not known, but the candidates.
It is known.
It is known. You just don't know it. You just don't know it.
Don't do me like that.
I'm not going to do you like that. It is known. So all of the who knows the number? Do the candidates know the number? Do the candidates, would they be aware of the exact number of members of this chapter of the NAACP?
Very much so.
Okay.
I mean, it's given, at our meetings, matter of fact, the president, and I just didn't remember it.
Yeah.
The president gave the total amount of members at our last meeting. So, we know the number of people that are part of the organization.
All right.
That's not a secret. We don't hide anything.
Okay. And well, wait a minute now.
Don't do me like that, man.
No, wait a minute. Well, you can't say stuff like that. You don't hide anything. You have hidden stuff. I've been involved in that process.
Under this leadership, everything has been transparent.
Okay. And again, we're going to go to break here, and then we're going to take some phone calls, 206-290-9685, and I think we have some other people joining us as well. What does that voting apparatus look like that you have where you can guarantee that all votes will be counted and that there is some sort of documentation and oversight to this process where things can be verified? How does this vote work? We know how the national vote works with that ballot. How does this process work?
So the members will be sent a ballot. Every qualified voting member of the NAACP will be sent a ballot, email link directly to their inbox the morning of the election. Are you with me?
Yep.
Voting eligible members are those who have been active since October the 22nd.
Okay.
Now, if you join after October the 22nd, 2020, you are not eligible to vote. If someone is an active member but is concerned they are not getting emails, then what they should do is contact the secretary of King County at Secretary at Seattle, King County NAACP before Saturday, November 1st. So we're giving everybody an opportunity to make sure that they are able to place their vote.
Okay. And when the votes come in, they go to they go to a laptop and or they go to a group of people who verify it. And what happens after people vote? And we'll start with that. And then I was going to ask, can you vote early? And what stops people from voting twice or 3 times or 4 times? And are there already some votes that are in, and have they already been counted? I know that's a bunch of questions, man. But we'll start with, again, what happens when the vote comes in?
Well, man, when the vote comes in, so it's set up this way where when the votes are placed, they are matched with the names that we have of official members. Mm-hmm. So you can't go in and vote 5 times. You can't go in and vote 6 times. You get a ballot. You put you sign that ballot, and it is compared with the roster that we have of those who are official members. This is not a Trump election. You can't just you can't do what you want to do. And the Trump and the last election, I must say, went very well. I'm not going to even knock that one. I think our last election went extremely well, very smooth. So we want this election here with the NAACP to go just as smooth. So no, you can't vote twice. You can vote from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Everybody have the same amount of time to place their vote. So it's done in order. It's not just out there. The committee has done a great job in making sure that everybody has equal voting rights.
We're gonna get ready to go to break here, but Ezra, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Ask me a question.
Can you call Rainier Avenue Radio about every 2 hours and tell us what the count is so we can let people know on the day of the election? Like if it starts at 9, can you let us know at 11 so we can tell people at 11 this is where the vote is. We can tell people at 3 this is where the vote is. We can tell people at 5 this is where the vote is, so that we have some sort of again, just the same updates that we get. Or if you can't do that, but if you can, we sure be willing to do that so that we can keep people informed. But you think about it. I'm not put you on the spot like that, but I am kind of. And we'll be back after the break, and we'll take some questions. I think we have some other folks joining us, and certainly we'll give you. I want you to also talk about how people can become members as well during this time.
Okay.
We'll be back right after this.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at RainierAvenueRadio.world.
This is the news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
As announced by the Hawks, there will be no fans allowed at Central League Field when the Seahawks face the Arizona Cardinals on November 19th. Per the Seattle Times, this will be the 5th game at the Clink that has happened without fans. Through the rest of the season, Seattle has 3 more home games, all of which are set to happen in December. The Seahawks are currently making decisions on a game-by-game basis and released a statement saying, quote, though ongoing collaboration with local public health and government officials, we have decided we will continue without fans in attendance at our home game on November 19th versus Arizona. Should the determined conditions have improved enough for us to host fans in a limited capacity in December, we will announce those plans in a later date. 19 teams have been able to have fans in the stands for at least one game this season, and the NFL said in a statement that no local clusters have been reported to be tracked back to NFL games.
And that's your news on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Hey, yo, how you doing? This is that guy Curtis from R&R Live Jam Sessions. I want y'all to tap in with me every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time right here on RainierAvenueRadio.world. R&R Live Jam Sessions, baby. Holla.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face, wipe things down, clean up your space. When you cough and sneeze, do responsibly. If you feel you're getting ill, isolate at home and chill. No, you're not alone. Please pick up your phone and call 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health 206-477-3977. King County 206-477-3977. Public Health Community Radio Station will provide you with more information. Say Rainier Avenue Radio. Your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio. .world.
Welcome back to Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B, the beat of the city. Again, the NAACP election, the Seattle King County chapter. My guest again is Ezra Maize. And Ezra, again, you've been here for about, what, a year and a half? Or you joined the Seattle King County chapter about a year and a half ago?
And I've been here for about a year and a half, going on 2 years, actually.
Okay. And immediately when you got here, you joined the chapter, pretty much.
Yes, yes.
Let's talk about, from your perspective, why that's important and why you chose to do that. Let's put the other stuff aside for a minute. Why you chose to do that and why you think, if you believe it is important for people to join organizations like the NAACP.
Most definitely, man. I still believe in the cause. I still believe in the fight, and I believe in the mission. I do. So I believe that when you have a heart for something, that no matter what our internal struggle was, and I'm a firm believer, man. And can I just throw it out there, Tony?
Yes,
man,
sir.
That when we focus on our internal struggle, or I should say our past, I can make excuses after excuses why we ended up where we were 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, how we ended up where we were. But there's an old saying that excuses are tools of incompetence, will build monuments of nothingness, and those who specialize in them never accomplish anything. So if I dwell on the past, if I just dwell on the past, we won't accomplish anything. But where we are now, I have to give Carolyn her props. Carolyn has done a good job. We're financially healthy. We are. We don't owe anybody. We're not in debt. We're membership wise, we're healthy. I think it's important, not just African Americans, but everybody who would like to be a part of the NAACP. I think it's important for them to get involved because we are still fighting the cause. We still see racial hatred. We still see racial discrimination. The cause is still there. So we have to, man. We have to get in the fight. You can't sit on the sideline. All of us have to get. Are you a member of the NAACP?
I am not.
You want me to give you an application?
I want you to give me a reason to join that I can trust in, that I know that my time, my effort, and my energy will be appreciated, that I'll be in an organization that is interested in doing more than just talking about it, but being about it, and I want to see the things that are in place. And so you asked me the question, and I have not seen that. What I have seen is dysfunction, disorganization. I haven't really seen the type of action, and that action can be a number of different things. Again, during this crisis, the question could really be, where has the NAACP been, and what have they done? I mean, you can say, oh, we're there, we're doing this, but people have been in crisis, and there are a lot of people who have done things, entities, organizations, and again, I can name them. And so I don't see the NAACP as having led during this time. And you can tell me I'm wrong and tell me, but if you can't convince me better than that, that's why I have not joined.
So let me say this here, Tony. Let me ask a question. Do you still see here in King County? I'm not going to talk about the world. Here in King County, do you still see racial hatred?
Oh, of course.
There's a reason.
Yes. It's a systemic reason that is definitely here, and this has been exacerbated by the pandemic, and then again increased tenfold by the awareness again of people watching 8 minutes and 46 seconds of a man who's died at the hands of police officer, black man died at the hands of at the knee of a white police officer, and once again black people were the ones who took to the streets initially to protest this. It's turned into a number of other things. So the answer to your question is yes. You asked me if I was, or it could have been anybody. Who were the entities and the organizations that were leading that during this time? It morphed into a number of different things. Maybe that was because diverse leadership, lack of leadership, but there were entities out there, people out there, individuals out there who took the opportunity to say, for those of you who are looking, for those of you who need help, for those of you who need assistance, we are here, and this is what we're providing for you.
And the NAACP during these tragic times, man, were a part of those or among those organizations.
Doing what? Don't just tell me we're at the table, because you brought this up. If you're trying to convince me to join, because we can talk about something else, I'm going to say having done what?
Man, we were sitting. We were here is my thing.
Having done what?
This is how I roll, Tony. I tell people this here.
There are some people who put together, again, opportunities for people to speak and folks to get. There are people who've started raising money. There are people who help businesses. Having done what?
So here is my thing, and I tell people this here, man. First of all, as an organization and as a people, we have to understand the importance of change.
What you have to understand during a crisis, I know, because I'm telling you what you need to understand during a crisis, when you don't have a job, when you don't have food on your table, when you're facing discrimination that is even more intensified, is you need assistance, you need help. Maybe you need help with your unemployment, the way to get that, the way to do that. We know what's wrong. People needed assistance. It wasn't even legal in this state at the time to be able to determine who the people were and how they were affected in communities and neighborhoods based on race. That law had to be changed for that to happen. So I'm just saying, having done what? Having done what?
And we pointed people to resources where they can now.
How did you point people to resources in times of isolation? Did you have an aggressive digital media presence? How did you do that?
That's a good question. We had media presence.
How? Where was it?
But hear me, Tony.
Okay, I'll listen now. But you asked me, so I'm telling you. Okay, go ahead.
When I was the president of NAACP in
I'm talking Tennessee. Seattle, King County.
No, well, hear me though. I'm about to break it down to you.
Okay.
The Ku Klux Klan, they came and they marched around the city. Some put their whites on. Now they put their suits on, and they came to me and they said, "Hey, Pastor Maize," they said, "Hey, can we march around the city and do what they're doing and protest against them too?" And I said to them, "We gotta think change. Just because you don't see us always marching around the city doesn't mean that we're not making an impact." And I told them, and I say it to King County, I don't care what organization you're a part of, marching and protesting is still good. But when you have the opportunity to sit at the table with some of the players, like the chief of police, the mayor, the governor, when you have the opportunity to sit at the table, marching is wonderful, protesting is wonderful.
My question again is, and do what? Sitting at the table, again, people were in Christ. What did you do other than sit at the table?
That's what we do. We sit and we talk
and
about
do
resolutions.
What resolutions? What did you put out there? What were you discussing that says this is what? Because you still haven't told me.
We've been doing a lot,
A lot is not an answer to the question. I can tell you groups that have been doing things. I can tell you what this radio station has been doing. I can tell you specifics that we were doing. We've been broadcasting. We've interviewed a number of different people. We gave out food. We've helped a variety of organizations. We've put curriculums together in schools. We've partnered with a variety of organizations from chambers of commerce. We've spread information. We have taken grants that were going to be due on a certain date and convinced King County to give them another date to get the word out about more of them. I can go on, and that's us as a radio station. If you asking me, which is why I'm thinking when you tell me why haven't I joined, I'm too busy doing stuff.
But that doesn't mean you can't become
right, but I have to know what my time is going to be used for. That's all I'm saying. Can we move on? Because you asked me about that. That's why I haven't joined. And if you want me to join, believe me, it's a venerated organization that I want to see be successful. That's not the problem. But I think that it's also important during this time that we make sure that these institutions and these organizations that, again, at some point are going to be getting money that people are giving to them as a trusted advocate.
But that's not our job.
People need to know that if the money is going to these organizations, and that's just one thing, that the money is going to be used equitably.
Give money.
I'm not talking about giving money. I'm saying people giving money to the NAACP, thinking that the NAACP is going to do something.
But you're talking about us doing something outside of our parameter, giving money, giving food.
I didn't say anything about giving money. I said people will give you money. And when they do, people want to know what's happening with that money. And if for people who are looking for an institution to give money to, is the NAACP the right one? And I can tell you other organizations and institutions, it's okay. I'm just saying what it was. You know, what are you doing? That took a turn.
We're still fighting racial hatred,
okay.
And we're still fighting discrimination.
All right. No specifics.
That's our mission.
No specifics. So maybe the president will change that. And I do want to take a phone call. And I said I would go to the phone, so you can give me a call at 206-290-9685, 206-290-9685. We'll take your phone calls. I've kind of let this go on along, but we have a caller on the line. Who's joining us now? Hello? Do we have someone on the line? Let's see. I think it's Deontay.
Hello?
Hello?
Hold on.
Hi. Who is this?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Who is this?
Oh, yes, this is Deontay Damper. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the NAACP has done over the past 2 years since we've been a part of the board. I've been a part of the board.
Okay.
Under the leadership of both Carolyn Riley Payne and Sadiqa Sakin, we were actually gold winners for the ACTSO, which is for the acting in an academic achievement. We had an ACTSO winner. We've also been in the spaces of creating father and son conferences with the previous religious chair, Tremaine Palm. Not only that, now, granted, it has been a bit murky in the spaces of the fires with the previous president, but through that space, we've actually won 3 cases in the spaces of civil rights. Do we have a lot more to learn? Absolutely. But in the meantime, I refuse to sit on the line and act like we don't need to answer your question by saying exactly what we've done, because this organization is more than just, we've done a lot of things. We've done enough, and we can do more.
Well, okay, and I appreciate it. And that's all I was asking was just tell me something. And again, you know what we're facing right now. We're facing again another surge in COVID. We've got a government that can't decide, you know, when they're going to pass again the baton to the president-elect, which is going to at the end of the day, these things are. So there's been no what is the thing called, the stimulus passed. Other things that are going to happen, and again, we can get into the weeds and the detail of those things, but they're going to things that are going to impact our community. And so just like COVID, just like what's taking place right now, when people are going to be in crisis, it's not an unusual question. If I'm just going to pick a name out of the hat, I could say Atlantic Street Center. I could say a number of different names. I could say Urban League. I could say a number of different entities, and they would say, this is what we do. This is what we're doing. And in time of crisis, this is what you can depend on us for during this particular time. And that's all I'm asking. And if, I just think it's something that we should know about an organization or an entity. And if it doesn't mean that it can't happen, maybe that's why there needs to be a new president. And I think that this is an opportunity for people to find out, what do we want in a president of the NAACP? Maybe they don't want much. I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to provide information for folks to decide and discern for themselves.
Tony, can I give a big shout out to Rachel Joshua?
Sure.
She was, we're proud of Rachel Joshua, who was NAACP AXO local winner this year, who won the gold in music instrumental classical in the first ever virtual Seattle King County AXO competition. So we give a big shout out to Rachel.
All right. Congratulations to Rachel. And Rachel, is Rachel a student here, or where's in Seattle? Or?
Rachel is a student in King County.
All right. Congratulations to Rachel. And thank you for having that program in place. As Ezra, what do you see as right now? You've heard some of the things that I've said. What do you think that the community should look for in a president of the NAACP, the Seattle King County chapter? What for you as a voting member, and you can't speak for all the voting members, but for you, what are some of the things that you believe as a person who's come to Seattle now and been here for a year and a half? I don't know how much that vests you in our community and the needs of our community and the people in the community and the connections in the community, and the people on the street, from the people to the 30,000-foot level, who are making different decisions. But from your perspective, what do you think that the Seattle King County NAACP chapter needs in a president?
That's a good question, man. I believe, first of all, we need a president that's not self-centered, that is not trying to or wanting to become the president for all the wrong reasons. This is not a position to gain fame. This is not a position to become popular. This is a position to enhance the movement, the mission, and the vision of the NAACP. And I believe that a lot of people run for president for the wrong reason.
Is anybody who's currently running for NAACP president running for the wrong reason?
I mean, somebody, the people who are voting have to be the judge of that. I can't say that.
Oh, I'm just asking you.
I do believe.
Because I've heard it was a popularity contest, and again, this is just hearsay. So I don't like, that it was pretty much like a social club, and these are just things that I'm hearing. Because I'm not part of it.
Contest.
So if that one of the things you want is somebody who understands that this is not a popularity contest. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
This is not a popularity contest, and understand the mission and the vision of the NAACP. There are different branches that fall under the NAACP. I'm the religious chair leader, so the religious chair has his job. The AXO has their job, but that president needs to be able to lead and to guide people, and people have to trust you. We're looking for somebody that is trustworthy and not just talk about it, but be about it. We need to be able to trust that you're going to lead this organization here in King County in the right direction. Again, don't do it because you want your name to be heard. Don't do it because you want people to see who you are. Do it because you understand the importance of trying to bring racial reconciliation to King County.
And what are some of the qualities that individual should have? What are some of should there be things that they already have in place in regards to understanding within the community, connections within the community? How important are those things, and what are some of those qualities specifically related to Seattle King County chapter?
One thing that you said that was very important, it's important to make sure that they're connected. it's extremely important to be connected to other sources, to the players, if I could say it that way, here in King County, to know who the major players are, be able to
What's a major player when you say that? What do you mean? What major player? What does that mean?
Major players, people who are not just talking about things happening in the city, but making things happen in the city.
Like major player, is that a political thing? Is that a business thing? Is that a philanthropic thing? And is that a street thing?
Major player is an Ezra thing.
Okay, but for the people who want to understand what a major, because some people may have different visions of that. For some people, it's the guy on their or girl or person on their block who speaks up about things. For other people, it's the person who sits in an office, on the top floor in a corner office. Is a major. For some people, it's an elected official. And that's why I'm asking you to be more specific in that regard.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All are major players if they're getting their specific job done. The man who sits in the background in the office and you never hear his name called does not mean that he's not a major player.
Okay, and
he's
so
doing his job successfully.
And so the NAACP should know all of those people.
I think that
whoever the NAA is charged, is their president, they're charged with, they should be, according to you, charged with knowing all of those people across that spectrum.
I didn't say all of them. I said most of the major players.
Well, major players.
Mm-hmm.
And major players come in a different variety of, again, socioeconomic places in our community.
Very much so.
All right. Again, my guest is Ezra Maize. And Ezra, man, I really appreciate you being here. And because as you know, it hasn't always worked out like this. When I've asked the NAACP to come on and nobody would get back to me. But I appreciate you, coming on and taking these questions and letting this go where it's going to go. And I appreciate the service that you providing and you're interested in providing to our community. Would you say that the rest of the board is as committed as you are? That's one thing. And then the other part about this that's come into play is the understanding of the bylaws. Would you say that the board members are, again, of the same mind that you are, and that the other thing is that there's a understanding of the governance and the bylaws of the Seattle King County chapter? Do you feel that you can tell me right now on the air, yes, the board is committed, and we have a deep understanding of the bylaws of the NAACP?
I can't speak for the whole board, but what I can say, as it relates to the bylaws and having a deep understanding, but what I can say that there is a phenomenal team. There is a wonderful board that has been formed, and they are extremely committed. Everybody on that board is extremely committed to the process. They're extremely committed to making for this branch to be successful and for fighting the good fight. Yes, I can honestly say that everyone on this board is committed.
All right. And who do you think should be president?
Again, let me. You want me to answer that?
I'm asking you. If you want to answer, it's up to you. Who do you think should be president? You have a vote. Who are you voting for?
Is that how we roll?
I mean, I'm just asking. Who are you voting for? Folks have had a chance to listen to you now. Maybe they might follow your lead.
I'm a cast a vote. I'm a cast a vote. I say this again. I'm going to vote for the person who's not out there trying to be popular. I'm going to vote for the person who's not out there trying to make a name for themselves. I want to vote for a person who's not out there because sometimes you got people who are running who can speak negative of the organization. And if all you can see is, if all you can see is negativity within the organization and not see the positive side of it, then I question why you're running to be president.
All right.
So I want somebody who sees the positive side of this organization.
I'm just going to counter that by saying we just had a president who wanted all loyalty, and anybody who said anything bad about his presidency and his anything dealing with what he did in his cabinet was fired and removed, and you had to have allegiance. And so when you're saying, sometimes you need people to come in and say this is what's actually going on. I think. But it's your world right now.
Some people coming in saying this is what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm with you now. I don't doubt that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to bring the problem, come with a solution. That's what leading is all about. Not just glorifying.
So if you don't have a solution,
come with a solution. And that's why we want to hear the vision. We want to hear the plan. Don't just come and tell me what you've done. I want to hear where you're going to take this organization, because we can be here 2 years from now in the same spot doing the same daggone thing because we didn't take time to. We voted, but no, that's my friend. Oh, that's my buddy.
Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my girl. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
Vote for the person who's right. Vote for the person who's going to lead this organization to another level. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good get better. You heard it, and your better gets best, and that's where we want to be at the peak of our game here in Seattle. That's where we want to be. Not because I'm not voting for anybody because they're my friend or because I think, oh, that's my boy. That's my girl. No, I want to see this organization go to another level. Do we have the ability to do it? Most definitely, with the right leader.
And from this position as a community radio station, that's what we've been trying to do. We've been trying to get the candidates on, to get the NAACP on, so that the people can know who they're voting for. As you remember when I asked you, how were you getting the word out to people, in particular in a time of COVID when people can't gather? Was there a voters pamphlet? And there is no strong digital presence. So the people may not have the information to be able to become informed voters, and that's why they may vote for their friends if they don't hear a platform.
So can I ask you a question, Tony?
Certainly. Again, be careful
here's my
now.
question. So you knew we were going to be here at 8 o'clock tonight?
Yes, I did.
You knew the people that were running?
Yes.
Did you say to the people that were running, any of them? I'm saying any of them. Have you talked to any of the people that are running to let them know that you had this platform tonight?
We put out information.
That wasn't the question, Tony.
So that people could know that this was taking place. And we did contact each of the moderators who were on this panel discussion so that they would know that this was taking place. I did not specifically contact the NAACP. And in regards to the candidates who were running, I really wanted folks to hear from other people, because the candidates, we did 3 interviews, 30 minutes apiece on each candidate, and then we had a debate as well. And I didn't want this to turn into a forum for debate. And we're almost out of time, but I want to give you the chance for last words. And within that, quickly, if you could tell people how they could become members.
If you go to the website, there is a membership button on the website. I believe the price is still the same, $30 to join.
All right.
And I say this, Tony, if you want to come and fight the fight with me, can I pay for your membership?
I'll pay for my own membership. That's not a problem. I just want to know what I'm involved with. You know what I mean? And where I'm putting my time.
Because you're extremely intelligent and very knowledgeable of what's going on in this city, man, you can be an asset to this organization and help leading it to the next level and fighting the good fight.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, and I'll tell you what I can do as a community radio station is try to look for transparency, and for the people who are running, get the word out about who they are and their platform. And I would like for nothing more than to see the NAACP be the force that it should be in this community. Ezra, I'm going to have to go because we have another show coming up, but I appreciate you being on the show. Good luck to you.
Can I stay for the next show, Tony?
Good luck to the NAACP. Say again?
Can I stay for the next show?
If you want to, it's the Gypsy Hip Hop Show with Fresh Juice. Who's on the show? Daniel? Jane Doe? Django. Django. Yeah. And who else? That's it. So yeah, there's a great show called Fresh Juice. If you want to stand, they're gonna talk about hip hop and play some latest music, and I'll let you decide that.
I'm from New York. I know a little bit about hip hop.
Thank you, and I appreciate your service, Ezra, and I appreciate your coming on this show, and good luck to you, and make sure those votes are counted, and make sure they're counted correctly, man, and give us an update about who's winning at a certain point in time if you can. All right?
If I want to check with the president, and if we can do that legally,
all right.
I'll make it. You have my word. I'll make it happen. If I do that, if we can do it legally, will you join the NAACP to help us out?
I'll think about it a little bit harder. Okay. Hey, my man.
And I appreciate you, Tony, man.
Likewise. Take care. That's it. That's all the time that we have. That's going to do it for the kid. Coming up next, Fresh Juice with Daniel Bellis and Taylor Hart and Pint Size Patron. We'll be back with them right after this.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue.